It is the beginning of March, and though it does not look like it outside with all the snow that's on the ground, spring is coming. And now is the time to start planning your outdoor garden and start some indoor planting for spring. Here to tell us more about spring planting and indoor planting, I am joined by Susan and Tammy Jensen from Jensen's Nursery and Garden Center. Hi, Tammy and Susan. Nice to have you here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm. I want to first start by asking about this past year. What's it been like for you at Jensen's Nursery with all the COVID craziness, mishigas going on? What's it been like?
It actually hasn't been too bad for our industry. We've been quite busy. We did the last 2 years pre-sell a lot of our annuals online because we didn't know if we would be open or closed. This year we are going back to just plain old normal in-store shopping. So we're very excited about that. We won't have any of the greenhouse roped off or anything like that. People can look at all the plants and buy all the plants. So that's really exciting for us to going forward. So it's it's going to be nice.
Kind of like we're going back to working with customers now, not just lining them up.
Yeah. It's amazing. I want to ask next about this winter. We've had we were talking about this just off the air. We've had this ridiculous amount of snowfall this winter. What is it going to look like for people's gardens in the spring? Are we going to have flooding? Like, what would be the optimal situation to have this snow melt and still have successful planting situation for the spring?
Well, I think at this point, if we can have a nice slow melt, more for the water tributaries and the farmers and those guys that are close to the river, I don't think we'll have overland flooding too much, but it might delay us getting into the gardens. But I think once the snow melts, you're going to find things like a lot of broken branches on your shrubs, might have some rabbit or vole damage underneath the snow, that kind of thing. So there might be a lot of pruning and cleaning up and tidying to do once that snow disappears.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we'll have flooding? What do you? I mean, if you look into the future, what do you think? Is that going to be a thing, or?
I don't think so this year. We were very dry and the rivers were very low last year, so I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of flooding. But there might be localized places. And again, it all depends on the melt. If it comes fast and furious, well, that can change in a few days.
Mm-hmm. If people are planning their gardens, what kinds of things can they be doing now to start planning for spring planting? Susan, you want to talk to that? Or Tammy?
Right now, they can actually start planting different vegetables inside. If you have a nice sunny south window or a grow light, there's certain ones that take a long time to get going, things like tomatoes and peppers. This is a perfect time to start them because they're usually 60 to 70 days for harvest, so you can get a little bit of jump on that and get some tomatoes coming earlier in the season.
Yeah, we actually made up a seed starting chart that I've added to the blog on our website at jensennursery.com. And if you go on there, it'll tell you some of the seeds that really aren't recommended to plant indoors to start early because they just germinate too quickly in the ground. You don't need to. So it'll tell you the different seeds that you can purchase and start seeding now, and what dates you can start planting them outdoors. Those dates might be pushed back a little bit this year because at May 15th, we might still have a little bit of snow in the yard, so you wouldn't want to be putting your seeds out yet.
Mm-hmm. So now, as of March 9th, what are some things that people can start looking at planting?
Again, there's things like Brussels sprouts. You can do lettuce. Lettuce you can do inside and actually harvest and keep going. So you can do a lot of lettuce crops throughout the season. Plus, they can go outside fairly early because, believe it or not, they take quite a bit of cool weather. Yeah.
Yeah, lettuce, kale, any of the greens you can grow, harvest. I sometimes start them early and then put them out in a garden area that I can cover and get a really early crop, and I'm harvesting it when you're just starting to get out into the garden and plant, which is nice.
Yeah, and your other ones are sort of leeks and tomatoes and peppers at this point in time. Anything else is more recommended to start in early April. You don't want the plants to be too large and too leggy inside, so if they grow fast, then you would end up flopping over and not doing so well. And then when you go from inside to outside, you don't just want to plant them in the garden. You want to kind of put them out and get them used to the wind and the sun and that. So you sort of put them out for a couple hours each day and lengthen that each day so that they get kind of hardened off.
Nice. One of the things I was looking on your website, one of the things I thought that was really great was that people can pick a plant and pick a pot and plant it right in the greenhouse. Tammy, you want to talk a little bit about that?
We have a customer potting table. So if you wanted to, spruce up your indoors and have a little bit of green, you could come pick out a nice little tropical plant or succulent, pick a nice pot to go with it, and then just go over to our potting table and plant it and bring it home ready to go. We actually haven't had that open for 2 years with COVID, so it's really exciting that our customer potting table is now open.
And so it sounds like you're both really excited to be seeing in-person people
Yes.
At Jensen's.
Yeah, the last 2 years, it was more like we were hurting the crowd. And whereas we are, huge on customer service and we'd like to help people out. And we didn't have that personal touch the last couple of years because you had to keep your distance. Our aisles are about 5 feet wide, so you couldn't even be in the same aisle as a customer. So you'd be shouting stuff across the greenhouse, that plant's over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's going to be nice to get back to that personal.
Talking to people, not counting people.
Yeah.
Right.
Really looking forward to it.
One of the things I also know about the nursery is that you have received plants recently, some tropical plants and whatnot. Tammy, can you talk a little bit about that? And then the second part of the question is, whenever we get this change of season and there's new stuff coming in, are there particular plants that either of you are really excited to see and to have at Jensen's? Tammy, maybe I'll start with you.
Yeah, we got a nice load of tropicals in, and we've got some smaller, like 4-6-inch plants, but we also have some big 8-10-inch tropicals that you'd end up putting outside around your patio to make a little tropical oasis. So those you could actually just keep them indoors now if you have a sunny window and, enjoy them. And then later in late May, you can move them outside and then bring them back in the next year and kind of keep them. But we have some really neat Hoyas and the Hindu rope Hoya, which is a little more rare collector's one. We managed
What's a Hoya?
A Hoya is a trailing tropical that has a very elusive flower that takes a long time to start blooming. That's people collect Hoyas. There's many different types of Hoyas. So there's Hoya groups on Facebook too.
Yeah, I'm always trying to find different Hoyas. Even from the suppliers, they are few and far between. So it's always when we get some, it's like, yay!
What about and this is going to sound crazy, but what about tropical fruit bearing? Can that even be a thing here in Manitoba?
It absolutely can. Right now, we don't have any tropical fruit, but it's something that we always hope to get. Again, it's a supply chain issue getting them. But I had a customer I was speaking to last week that had actually taken one of the passion fruit plants a couple of years ago, and she actually got fruit this year.
Oh, wow.
So she said it was the best tasting. It was juicy and really, really good. So you can have lemons and oranges and, different fruit.
Yeah, I did have a lemon and a lime going a few years ago when I was able to have some smaller lemon and limes off it. Unfortunately, I didn't keep them going from outside to inside. A little bit of kind of forgot them. Otherwise, maybe I'd have some bigger lemons right now.
Yeah. I mean, because speaking for myself, I love the tropical fruits. If people are not comfortable going to Jensen's, they can still order online, right? Can you talk a little about where they can go to order online?
At JensenNurseryGiftShop.com is our online store. Basically everything in the showroom, so from your giftware to your seeds to fertilizers, and our houseplants are all online.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's a good selection of items there, and they can order and do curbside pickup or come in and pick up, or we have delivery as well.
I also know that one of the things that's been really popular, especially during COVID, has been this whole idea of planting vegetables. More and more people have been getting into planting vegetables. Tammy, can you talk a little bit about that?
It's definitely become a huge trend during COVID. We've had so many new people that have planted their first vegetable garden, really excited over it. I think now with the huge rising food costs, this trend is going to continue, and it may even become even larger this year. So we're really planning on having lots of vegetables available this year.
And it's been, I know for myself, just going to the grocery store, I'm a big fan of apples, and it's crazy how much the apple, like I've just noticed over the past couple or 4 months, the apple prices are increasing as well. So you think more and more people are going to be growing fruits and vegetables just to combat that, right?
Definitely. We the last 2 years of COVID, we keep selling out of apple trees, fruit trees, cherry trees, plum trees, anything edible that you can grow in your yard. They're replacing decorative trees with a fruit tree so
Really?
that they can have, harvest their own food basically.
Mm-hmm. Tammy and Susan, I have to say, after this long and snowy winter we've had, it feels great to be talking about spring finally. Thanks so much for stopping by and chatting with me today. This has been great.
Well, thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Mm-hmm.